Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be drawing this cute little chick. This came from a package of Reese Cups peanut butter eggs for Easter, and I'm going to draw it just a little bit differently today, but we're going to start basically with this. When you see an image that you want to draw, the very first thing to do is to find shapes. So this one has a circle. That's the biggest main shape, and then a triangle for the beak, and then 2 dots for the eyes, and the legs are basically just sticks with kind of a plus sign at the end. So that's how we're going to see things when we draw them. Now we're going to start with the circle. Just draw a big circle, and it does not have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be perfectly round. It can be wibbly wobbly. See how wibbly wobbly this thing is? Little baby chicks aren't perfectly round. They are lopsided, just like us. We have parts that stick out where we don't think they should, but that's it. All right, then we're going to go and on top of that circle, we're just going to make little wave marks, little scallops like that, right? So all around the circle, I'm just going to put a bunch of scallops. They don't have to touch each other. They don't have to be equal size. They're just going to be all around the edges. Now I'm doing this drawing in pencil first so that I can draw different things and try out stuff, and then when I get it all ready the way I want, then I'm going to go over it with ink, and I'll show you how we're going to do that, walk you through it step by step. So that's going to be the outline, is the scallops all around the circle. Then we're going to draw a triangle in the middle for his beak. Can be a long, skinny triangle, could be a short, fat triangle, however you want to draw yours. And then I'm going to do 2 little circles for his eyes. All right, for his legs, I'm just going to do straight lines. Now, people get intimidated by straight lines because they think they're hard, but just think about writing a capital letter B. Did you get intimidated to make that line? Same thing. It's just lines like that. Now, this second part can be a little intimidating because we're going to do another line really close together with it. Okay, so they don't have to be perfect, but just make another straight line down this way for the other leg, and then a line right beside it. Okay, then I'm going to make a little arc at the bottom of that. At the bottom of this leg, I'm going to make a little arc, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, just like that. And then I'm going to draw from this end of this arc up to the leg, and then down here, I'm going to close those lines off to make a little toe, and I'm going to draw to the edge of this little arc. So from the arc to the leg, other arc to the leg, and then close this thing off to be a third toe. Okay? Doesn't have to be precise or equal. That's just one way to draw it, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a different way to do legs. You can just leave them plain like this. That's what I did on this drawing over here. But I'm going to add kneecaps. So I'm going to draw a circle in the middle of each line, and I make it so that the circle sticks out just a little bit beyond the straight line of the leg. All right. Now it's time to get our pen and color over the lines we want to keep, and we're going to ignore the pencil lines that we don't want. Okay. Now I want to show you on the leg. When I draw over the leg, I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to draw down to the kneecap. Then I'm going to do just the curve on the outside of the kneecap. I'm not going to draw the whole circle. I'm just coloring the outside of the kneecap, and then continue that line on down to the bottom. Now I'm not going to draw these inside lines here. I'm just going to outline the toes. All right, just around the edges of what I drew. And then I'm going to draw back up to the kneecap and outline just the outer edge of that circle and on up. So I'll show you really quickly. Once I erase those lines, then you've got a little leg with a kneecap. But if I drew in the whole circle, you'd have those lines there, and that wouldn't make any sense, right? So let's try the other leg. Draw down around the outside of the circle, down, outline around the outside of the circle, and up. Okay, now around his body, I'm not going to draw that circle with my pen. I'm just going to draw the scallops. And I don't have to trace the scallops. I don't have to make them exactly the same way I did before. I'm just going to use those as a guide for where to put my scallops. So just do your scallops all the way around. And now I'm going to color in my little circles for my eyes. You can make them bigger or smaller when you do it on in ink. And then I'm going to outline the beak. Okay, then I'm going to erase all of my lines, my pencil lines. And see now how those scallops kind of make it look like his little fur. The little chicks have that little soft feather coating around them. Another thing I want to do now is I want to add some shadow. This is called stippling with little tiny dots. See those little dots around the edge? That makes kind of a shadow. So it kind of looks like the sunlight's coming down this way, and the roundness of his body is kind of creating a shadow just along the edge. Okay, so what we do is we're going to start up here really close to the edge, and then we're going to make it wider. See how wide that is? Narrow up here and wide down here, and then it gets narrow again down here. Just stipple all along that edge. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start up here, and I'm just going to do a few dots, and then pretty soon it gets a little wider. You could put your finger there if you want to show where the thickest part's going to be, so that you're working your way down to that, and you're just filling in the spaces along here, just dot, dot, dot. Now I got the thickest part. Now I want to show where my thinnest part's going to be, so I can aim it down here towards that thin part here, and fill all that in with dots. Okay, and you can put some bigger dots, darker dots, little dots, whatever you want to do. Stippling is just putting in all those little dots. Now, because he's got this little fuzzy fur, I also want to put in a few random dots, just a few, on the rest of his body, so it kind of shows that it's a fur. Okay, and now we've drawn him. So then what I do is I get my watercolors. You can use any kind of watercolors you have handy. And I'm going to use yellow for the body. And I'm just going to fill it in. Now, there are some really great watercolor artists who know all kinds of techniques and skills to use watercolors in really fabulous ways. So if you want to be a great watercolor artist, there are all kinds of places like on YouTube and books and stuff that you can get to study techniques for watercoloring. But don't ever let it keep you from enjoying watercoloring just because you don't know a lot of techniques. We can have fun with it like this, just coloring it in. Okay? Now, after I've done that, I'm going to paint his legs orange. And I'll give you a tip on painting in narrow areas like that. When you're painting with a watercolor brush, the more you press down, the thicker your line gets. All right? But if you are lifting up on the brush, almost like you're going to take it off any minute, then you can make a pretty skinny line. So that's a good way when you're painting in little tiny areas like this, to just think about lifting your brush as you're painting so that it's barely touching the paper. Now I want to paint his beak, but it's right in the middle of all that yellow, and if the yellow isn't completely dry around it, then the orange will lift up. So I'm going to just dab it just a little bit. Oops, I got a hair on there. That happens all the time. And then I dropped my camera, sorry. Okay. And then I'm going to paint his beak orange. And there you go. There you got a cute little chick. See how easy and quick it is? Keep drawing, keep drawing, keep drawing. Don't get intimidated by anybody else who says, oh, that doesn't look good, or don't compare your drawing to anybody else's. You just enjoy and be proud of whatever you create, because that wasn't there a minute ago. There was a blank piece of paper and you created something pretty. So have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.